Lucky, lucky, lucky me. Oh.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Wellness Global and the I Am the Brand Business Accelerator interview series. Today I'm excited to bring you a special friend, Amanda Browne. Hey Amanda.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going great. I'm so happy that you're here to talk with us today and to share a little bit about who you are and what you're going to be bringing to the Accelerator. Let's start with that. Let's start with a little bit more about you. Who are you?
Yeah, so my name's Amanda, and I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with two very cuddly black cats. I have one with me right now. And I started my own consulting business recently, that really focuses on embodied leadership and incorporating what I call ancient wisdom. So I pull from traditions like Ayurveda and astrology and just, elemental and planetary cycles, some of that philosophy and integrating that into evidence-based practices and different sort of leadership models and approaches. And so, I'm really excited because I really like this intersection of, spirituality and, you know, modern applications. So that's sort of where I'm landing. And I think this accelerator is going to be a fun time for all of us who are kind of in that space.
Yeah, it's an exciting time in the world to that where it's becoming kind of commonplace, maybe not everywhere, but for a lot of us to be able to bring together this whole holistic perspective, which is the purpose of the accelerator, to really touch
Mhm.
base on all the different aspects of business from nuts and bolts to spiritual health and mental health and things like that. Um, I love it. I'm excited. I'm glad you're able to do that in your business. What inspired you to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I have worked, so my training, my background is I'm a licensed clinical social worker and I have a master's in public health. And so I've been working in some version of interpersonal connection and healing in different ways. But the past several years when I was employed, I was doing a lot of training for other providers in the state on different practices and different programs. And then in the last year, I've been contracting with a company to do more of that leadership and business development side of things. And so I was reaching a point where I wanted a new challenge. And I really wanted to be able to address needs in spaces in a way where I had a little bit more autonomy and creative control to do that, because a lot of what I was seeing, even with my own background, there's a lot of burnout. And so much of that is related to workplace culture, and so much workplace culture is heavily influenced by leadership and, how capable, competent, and healthy they are. If you have leaders who are overwhelmed, or if you have leaders who are struggling to effectively manage their people, then that's just going to trickle down and affect everybody else. And so finding these different ways and using inspiration from my own burnout recovery process, to sort of get there. And so for me, a lot of the spiritual components are born out of my own experience of sort of coming home to my own version of, non-denominational spirituality that was very grounding and healing at a time when I felt completely untethered and like I had given everything to everything except for myself. And so sort of figuring out how to find that balance again. And so, now that I'm sort of on the other side of that process, um, where I'm, it's an ongoing process, right? Like I don't like, it's sometimes there's that feeling of like, I never want to give the impression that it's like, I made it and I'm healed and like, and everything is sunshine and rainbows. Like, but I've reached that point where I've built the skills and the level of knowledge and understanding to be able to navigate an extremely stressful world in a way where it's not going to burn me out in the way that it used to. And so that's sort of, my hope and my goal is to provide people with that kind of foundation and that skill set where instead of just learning something like learning, going through a typical leadership development training or receiving, a more cookie cutter kind of like healing or coaching service. I really want, people to be equipped with the skills to be able to navigate stress and turmoil and uncertainty, because we're never going to be able to eliminate that. And so it's more about how do we make sure that as we're entering these spaces or as we're navigating different things, we're able to set ourselves up for success and set ourselves up to have more joy and fun and actually protect the things that we enjoy doing and that we love to do, while we are also, like earning a living and, doing all of the things that come with being an adult human in this day and
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, well said. I mean, I know I resonate with a lot of what you said there, and I'm a career switcher myself. I had a decades long career in public service and was burnt out. And I think a lot of people who will be joining us in the Accelerator have come from a similar background or perspective where they've been inspired to go into business because they weren't happy. And in the hamster wheel of where they were burnout, they weren't able to have the creativity and the fun and so on, and they knew there was a better way. And so we still have to like heal from that. I know it took me a couple of years to really just to kind of bring my nervous system down to a stable level. I'm not going to say healed, but like
just to be like regulate, just to be like, oh, this is what it's like to be normal again and to not be hypervigilant 24/7, right? Like that whole thing. And I think too, especially what I've been learning on my entrepreneurial journey is like there's that like I need to leave this hamster wheel and like go do my own thing, and then you start doing your own thing and suddenly you're just like, I have to like suddenly all of these skills that I didn't have to know in order to be like a successful business owner, not even having, multi-million figure types of ambitions, but just to be able to keep the business alive and not be financially stressed. There's so much that goes into that, and suddenly you're just like, how do I not burn out again? Because there's so much of that, like, and again, it goes back to having some of those skills and getting that grounding to then be able to navigate, your to have the fun that you were trying to have when you started out.
Yeah, because it's a habit. Like a lot of the things that we developed to survive in that career, in that previous situation, we then carry into our business or into our life and just repeat it there subconsciously. So we have to create new habits, right? We have to have new wisdom and then create new habits. So so the burnout and the leadership, and as business owners, even for solopreneurs who are, like, oh, I'm doing it on my own. I just want to do it my way. I don't want a big team. There are times, where we have to collaborate for survival, and it's fun too. But we have to collaborate. We end up having to manage some sort of group or team, and then frankly, some of our experts are going to talk about delegating and outsourcing because there's some things that are just better left to people who are really good at it and let them take things off your plate, right?
Exactly. No, and that's the thing, because I was just talking earlier today about how delegation is a skill, and it's important because if you're going to be a business owner, you're essentially the big boss. And while there might be things that you really like to do, the question is that really something that you have the bandwidth for when there's all of these other things, right? So like, learning how to navigate shiny object syndrome, and also learning how to delegate and recognize, I like to have control over this piece of business, or I'm worried about the quality. But again, that also comes into that leadership. If you train people effectively in terms of what you're wanting and needing for your business and your type and your culture, then delegating becomes a little less scary because you can trust the people who you're delegating to get the things done that need to get done. And that frees up so much of your time to, again, focus on the pieces of the work and part of what you're doing and the parts of your business that are actually really exciting to you. And so I think there's that, like, you know, we can have that kind of like helicopter parent almost mentality of like, I don't want to, like, everything needs to be just so, and you know, I don't want anybody to mess with my mojo and all of these other things. And I think that's very valid. And also, like, if you are one person, you are one person, and running a business requires so many different moving pieces that I'm a huge advocate for, like, I've already, like, I'm a solopreneur, but I'm not like, listen, once I get to a point where I can invest in this service or in this, and like in this employee, I know exactly who I'm hiring. You know, like, I know exactly which pieces I want to delegate, because it's the kind, not because I don't necessarily enjoy it, but because there's so much other things that I want to be able to give my attention to, and show up for, and have that, you know, sort of work-life harmony of, if I don't want to be thinking about my business, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you might be thinking about your business 24/7, like whether you want to or not. But like, if I want to be able to take, you know, an extended vacation and actually enjoy it and not have to worry about, you know, the finances or the lead generation or the things that are coming in, the ways that my business needs to sort of be self-sufficient without me being present there every day, like learning how to delegate, learning, I'm excited to learn from those other people in the Accelerator program too, of sort of what their strategies or what their kinds of questions are in terms of figuring out for yourself how to know which parts you want to delegate, and how do you identify the right people or services to help you with that, for the size and nature of your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be a huge value in the container, is that we have all of these people who have walked the walk already. They've been where you are, you know, and so they've learned these lessons and are going to be here to share them. We can glean from one another, from all of our varied experiences and backgrounds. So I'm super excited about that too. And to develop the trust and the network of professionals that you would want to be part of your business. It's better to know what you don't know than to get sidelined and be totally surprised, like, oh, I didn't even know I was supposed to be doing that, or I didn't know that was an
Exactly.
option, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that's like, I think something that's been pivotal for me is having conversations and just like being in that mindset of, you know, as uncertain as the terrain might be, or as the seasons of my business wax and wane with that, like, oh, it's feeling really good and things are really good. And like, oh my God, I'm super stressed. Like, how am I going to make it next month? I don't know. But having people that I can either talk to and learn from, and just having that network, like there's so many people that I've talked to in the past couple of weeks that I'm just like, I can't, like, I don't know when, and I don't know how this collaboration is going to come, like, to manifest and come into form, but like, there's great potential here for a collaboration, and I can't wait to just sort of see what evolves from that. And the opportunities that presents, and the things that I've learned from other business owners, just through having those types of conversations and being in spaces like this Accelerator, where you just have this community of people sharing resources and insight and wisdom. And it's only like, you know, even if we're doing the same or similar things, it's only like, it can only help, right? Like there's that kind of, you know, it's an abundance of resources, an abundance of like collaborative opportunities that can benefit everybody.
Yeah. Um, we are really, I feel like, moving from a mindset, you know, that kind of masculine competitive mindset of the past centuries, into more of a collaborative, like, oh, we do the same thing. Well, how can we collaborate? Instead of like, well, how can I stab you in the back? You know, like,
Right.
let's come
Exactly.
together and lift each other up. And you do what part you're really good at, and I'll do what part I'm really good at and love. And it's a win-win situation.
Collaboration over competition has been one of my mantras for the past year, and it's been so helpful. And that piece too, where it's like, there's a concept in some of the like conflict resolution work that I've done of like the right messenger, where we can say the same things, we can have the same expertise, but the way that I approach it or the way that I communicate it is going to speak to certain people much more effectively than if you were to say it. And there are going to be people who are going to hear what you have to say much more clearly than if I were to say the same thing, in almost the same exact way, right? And so there's this idea too where, again, like the people who are going to resonate with you, like you have your own unique gifts, you have your own unique lenses. And we were talking earlier about human design. Like there's so many different tools to help us tap into what we bring to the table as individuals so that we can contribute to that sort of collaborative space in a way that doesn't feel like we have to shrink ourselves or doesn't feel like we have to fight for resources or for scraps or anything like that. And it really is that idea of, I have my people, you have your people, and they're going to hear us, like they're going to respond to us differently, but we're sort of teaching the same kind of concepts. And the point is that everybody learns those concepts rather than who becomes like the superstar, big name, like the person that gets put on a pedestal.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, I feel like we've covered a lot of topics. We've really we've given a lot of value just in this conversation, I think. Yeah. But anything else you want to add about participation in the Accelerator? Anything you're excited about or that you're looking to contribute that we haven't touched on already?
No, I think I'm just really excited. I'll be sharing things. I'm still figuring out the form it's going to take, but I'll be sharing things on all of the different topics that we talked about and touched on. And I'm really excited about potentials for collaboration and sort of, seeing how me and some of the other experts can work together to create some really amazing new materials.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, so for all of you listening, we are the experts have been invited into the container already, and so they're in there and they're connecting and they're networking and they're collaborating. So coming in, they already knew, what they were going to be primarily talking about, but they're vibing together so well that they're already planning collaborations and so on, like Amanda said. So it's going to be even better than I think any of us anticipated, because we just have this shared value system there. We have so many commonalities in our mindset and our belief systems. But at the same time, vast diversity in our life experiences, in our locations. We literally have contributors from across the country and around the globe. So just really going to be phenomenal. So thank you again, Amanda, for accepting the invitation to become one of our contributors and being a part of this.
Yeah, I'm honored. I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful. And y'all, make sure you take advantage of this moment that you're listening to this right now to go down in the description and click the link and sign up if you haven't already. Don't let it slip by and forget, because you're not going to want to miss this. It's 90 days of immersive private container with 39 experts. And I might have some bonus people popping in that we haven't announced yet. So there's even more to come. And I know our collaborators have more up their sleeves as well. So you can actually save $88 off of the public listed price by using Amanda's last name, Browne. You see it here on the screen if you're watching, and if you are going back to the video afterward, you'll see it in the description also. You can plug that into the promo code, you'll save $88, and you'll come in for just $111 for 90 days of immersion. And keep in mind too, that you can do this at your own pace. You don't have to block your calendar off. You don't have to stress out. You don't have to take time off of work or, take your kids to a babysitter. You can do this in a time that works for you. So maybe you can't catch every live, but you'll be able to go back and watch the replays and gather the resources that you want from the collaborators that you resonate with in there. So go ahead and do that now. Use Amanda's code Brown, and we will see you on April 1st in the I Am the Brand Business Accelerator Facebook group. So thank you, Amanda. See you all later.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Lucky, lucky, lucky me. Oh.